When I think of my podcast co-host Nick, I always think of the back of his head. I picture cracking his lovely skull, unspooling his brain, trying to get answers. The primal questions of a podcast. What are you thinking? How are you feeling? What have we done to each other? What will we do?
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
You can't handle the truth. King Kong ain't got shit on me. I am the third revelation.
I am so much crazier than you.
I am the one who knocks.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Best thing, big boy, huh? That's private fucking.
Everybody on? Good. Great. Grand. Wonderful.
Welcome to Facing Off, a podcast where we take two movies we find to be similar and we compare, contrast, and rate them. I am your deeply unsettled host, Nick, and this is
Your vindictive wife, Gabe.
Oh, God, dude.
You better watch out, dude.
The first time we recorded this, we did that intro separately, and this time Gabe was in the same room just staring at me as he read it. And
I was struggling not to laugh the
I was
entire
not
time.
expecting that. That was deeply disturbing for me.
Yeah.
But welcome to Facing Off. Thank you for joining us and continuing to listen to our podcast. We are very happy that you're wherever you are doing that, in traffic or, just exercising.
Laying
maybe.
in bed alone thinking about your husband and how lazy he's been.
Yeah, just daydreaming
doing.
about the plot that you have to frame him for your own murder.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
pretty much that.
thanks.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Chilling. I've seen some really good movies lately that aren't these movies that are pretty fun.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, go out and see the Korean movie Parasite. It's the best movie of the year
Ooh,
by
I can't
far.
wait to see that.
It's so
Yeah.
good. See it in theaters. You're gonna miss
Yeah.
out if you don't.
So our two movies today are Gone Girl and A Simple Favor.
Yeah. Before we get into it, I guess let's just do a couple disclaimers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because last
don't-
episode we almost spoiled stuff, or I guess we did spoil stuff, but it was Guardians, so it was okay.
Yeah, I don't want to skip over those. So our disclaimers. First and foremost, we are not experts. We are not movie critics. We just think that it's fun to talk about movies, and so we created a rating system. So because we like numbers and stuff. So
Yeah.
we are podcast hosts, but we are not movie critics.
Yeah, this is just our opinion, and
Yeah.
we're open to everybody's
Yeah,
opinion.
and we value your opinion, so please email us. We got a lot of feedback after our first episode, and we really, really appreciate that. So keep that coming because we want to make this super listenable for you guys. Our next disclaimer is we are going to spoil Gone Girl, and we are going to spoil A Simple Favor, I guess.
Yeah.
So stop now. If you do not want these movies spoiled, you should definitely have seen Gone Girl. And if you have not, please go and watch it. Is it streaming on anything?
So you can rent it on Amazon and I think YouTube. It's not streaming on anything. It's on FX networks, I think. So if you have an FX account, you can watch it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like bleeped out for certain parts. You're definitely going to miss out on some little naked bits. But yeah, that's there. And then A Simple Favor, if you haven't seen that, is on Hulu and I think Amazon. So
If you're watching Gone Girl for that Ben Affleck side ween,
yeah.
you're going to miss that.
it's big. Yeah, for sure. So in this episode, we dive deep into two suburban marital mysteries where wives go missing and we are left to examine the behaviors of those close to them who they left behind as we uncover the true nature of their disappearances. Today, we are comparing David Fincher's 2014 post-recession marital thriller, Gone Girl, starring Rosamund Pike and Ben Affleck and his side penis, to Paul Feig's 2018 mystery comedy, I guess you can call it that, A Simple Favor, starring Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively. In Gone Girl, on Amazing Amy and Nick Dunn's anniversary, Amy disappears but leaves behind an anniversary scavenger hunt for Nick. As Nick hunts for clues, he soon finds that his wife has framed him for murder so he can receive the death penalty for being a bad, boring husband. However, when she realizes she truly belongs with Nick, she hatches a disturbing and violent plan to reunite with him. In a simple favor, uptight and energetic widow/mother Stephanie befriends a fellow rich and no-fucks-given mother named Emily. Shortly after, Emily asks Stephanie a simple favor, titular, to pick up her kid, but then goes missing under unclear circumstances. Shut up, dude. But then goes missing. In her absence, Stephanie begins a sexual relationship with Emily's husband and inserts herself into Emily's house and family. However, it is revealed that Emily also created a plan for her disappearance. But this time, it's to get rich off of insurance money, get independence from her non-loving husband, and slip away from her twin sister's self-imploding lifestyle. Stephanie then must stop Emily and bring her to justice.
That was an excellent synopsis of A Simple Favor. That was almost better than the movie.
I got you, dude. Yeah, so let's get into the categories, I guess, at this point, right?
So we're gonna sub in a new category for this one. Do you want to spoil what it is now, or do we want to just go over it when we get there?
Let's just say what categories we're doing so they know. We're obviously going to use our scale of 1 to 7. Right. 7 being highest, 1 being lowest, 4 being average or neutral for the category. So our categories today, our new category that we are subbing in for legacy, because that neither of these movies really have like a big legacy. No. So it's not really a fair one. But we got True Detective, a new category we'll explain soon. Originality, spectacularity, acting, and eye candy. Let's start it off with True Detective.
Oh, start with the new one?
Yeah.
So True Detective is a category that we've, like Gabe said, we subbed in for legacy. It's a category where we ask ourselves questions like, which one of these movies made us the detective?
Yeah.
Which one of these movies turned us into Rust Cole, so to speak?
Yeah, or Marty Hart.
Yeah.
I'm the angry one of us.
Yeah,
so
you're the
it's
Marty
definitely
Hart.
me. Yeah. It's basically, were you looking at clues? Did it lay out certain clues that would give away certain twists? Were you happy with the twist? Did you think about the movie for a while afterwards? Things like that. So yeah, let's start with Gone Girl.
You want to start with Gone Girl? Okay, so I gave Gone Girl and True Detective, I gave it a rating of a 6.
Out of 7? All right. Yep,
Yeah,
that's
6
what I
out
gave
of
it.
7 because... So Gone Girl is one of my favorite movies. It's got to be top 5, top 7 favorite movies for me, easy.
Nice.
The first time I watched it, I could not have been more engaged in the mystery part of this movie.
Absolutely.
I liked it so much, I went and read.
Yeah, same with me. Yeah.
I read a book.
Wow.
I read the book after.
Impressive.
On a tablet. It's not like a real paper book.
Yeah.
Not a caveman.
I did on a Kindle as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're not cavemen.
No.
We're modern boys. So I could not have been more engaged in the mystery aspect of this movie. The way that it's unfolded, that you kind of learn the twist in the middle of the movie is incredible. Was incredible to me, and you, I don't know, I was on my toes. I really, really enjoy the mystery aspect of Gone Girl.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 6 as well. I think that the first time I watched it, I would have given it a 7 because it's so fascinating, and the twist that she's the one doing it comes to you halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
And so you just need to watch the rest of it. You're so engaged in terms of looking for clues. You're trying to figure out the scavenger hunt at the same time Nick does. You're trying to figure out how she's possibly going to like fix all of this stuff, or how he's going to fix his situation. So I think the problem is when you rewatch it knowing the twist, it doesn't have that kind of impact where, like, maybe you will look for clues at the beginning, but it's already laid out in a way where it's fake.
Yeah.
She makes up the diary thing. So there's not much to look at the beginning.
Right. Once you know that the diary's not real, on your second watch, it does lose a little bit of its like potency.
For sure.
It's kind of like the movie The Prestige in that way, which is
Yeah.
also one of my favorite movies. When you go back and you know the twist.
Right, but it doesn't necessarily, that's a good one because it doesn't necessarily take away from the enjoyment of the movie. Like a movie like The Usual Suspects or The Sixth Sense, if you know the twist, it kind of defeats the purpose of most of the movie.
Yeah.
At least with The Usual Suspects, because literally nothing was true.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm giving it a 6 as well. What about a simple favorite?
So Gone Girl gets 6s from both of us.
Yeah,
All
out of
right.
7.
We agree.
Woo.
That happens.
Yeah.
Like a lot. So this is probably out of the movies that we've paired up in our the list that we've created for future episodes, this is maybe the most on the nose comparison. These
Yeah.
two movies are like
Very similar
the
in
plot
story.
of the two movies is pretty.
I guess the books are even more similar.
Are they really?
Yeah, that's what I've read.
See, I don't know much.
I'll
about
talk
A Simple
about it
Favor.
later.
Okay, so I mean, I give it a 3. A Simple Favor.
Okay.
I give it a 3.
Slightly below average.
In True Detective, yeah, it's a little bit below average because it's just not like, I don't know, I didn't really care that much about the mystery of what was happening in the movie. Doesn't unfold. I saw this one in theaters back when Movie Pass was a thing.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. Movie Pass, and it was just like, I don't know, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's just not the same as Gone Girl. It's not as well done of a movie, particularly in the mystery aspect of it.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 7. So I watched it way after, knowing that it was somewhat like Gone Girl. So I decided to watch it for this podcast. And I do have to say I wanted to know what the twist would be, and I was trying to predict it as I went through. But it just wasn't weird enough and wasn't intense enough for me to really feel like I was totally caught up in it. I was more on my phone during it. So it's I think in the first 10 minutes, I'm like, ooh, what's this flashback to her fucking her brother? What does that have to do with anything? And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to discover it. But then halfway through the movie, I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah,
I don't care about the mystery.
There's not a mystery around that. It's just straight up she had sex with her brother.
Both movies
half-brother?
explain the twist, but this one is
I don't know.
They spend maybe 20 minutes explaining the twist. It's so ridiculous. It's not even impressive ridiculous.
No.
It's just why didn't you guys think of a simpler way to do this? Ooh.
That's the irony,
I just
dude.
felt
It's
like
not
in
really
the-
a simple favor.
Yeah, true. It's not a simple favor to watch it at all. Yeah, I just feel with our question in this category of what did the twist leave you wanting to think about it more? Were you satisfied with the twist? I wasn't. When you find out what the twist is, you're like, what was the point of all this other shit in the movie? It didn't make any sense. And then it wasn't really that cool. It was kind of an ending where I was like, all right, interesting, I guess.
Yeah, there's a couple twists folded in, with the final twist being Anna Kendrick's come up.
Yep.
it's
That's true. I mean,
yeah.
you kind of get that with her being kind of badass in it and taking control. I mean, Anna Kendrick's great in it. So
she's
I'm going to give it a 2. Nick gave it a 3.
I also bumped the table just now. I'm really sorry about that.
You big dummy. Let's go to originality next.
Okay.
So this is basically, how creative was the movie. And in the case here, they were both movies that came from books. And it's
Right.
how necessary was the movie to be made as an adaptation of the book.
So what did you give
Let's start with a simple favor.
Simple Favor? What did you give Simple Favor?
Oh, interesting.
In
You're using
originality.
mine to influence yours.
No.
Oh, okay. You're just being polite.
No, way to be paranoid, dude.
I gave it a 2. 2 out of 7 again. So I do want to. So this is based off of a 2007 novel by Darcy Bell. Nick and I both haven't watched or read it.
No, but I kind of want to now.
I almost want to, mostly because this one critic called the novel "Gone Girl, Gone Nuclear." Gone Girl on steroids, amphetamines, and cocaine.
I read the Wikipedia. It does not really sound.
Yeah, I think that guy should probably be fired from his job, or he was on LSD when he read the book or something.
Was he saying Gone Girl the movie or
He's
Gone
talking
Girl
about
the book?
I think it's
On-
Gone Girl.
on
It's
amphetamines.
either. I think it's the novel versus the novel. And there's just, I don't believe that because I've
No.
read the book and I've watched the movie many times and it's insane. And the two missing wives, the disparity between the two of them and how crazy they are, I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess pun intended. Yeah, it just doesn't really in the genre of mystery thrillers. it doesn't really stand out.
A Simple Favor? No.
I don't think it's a movie that you need to see.
No, it's like this. It's almost like rom-com-y, but it's not a rom-com.
Yeah.
There is some rom in it. It's just weird.
It's definitely weird. And it has that weird R&B song at the beginning that's like...
That's so true. I forgot about that.
The Under My Skin is it's such a bizarre sequence.
It's really strange.
Yeah.
So I give Simple Favor a 3.
Okay.
In terms of originality, because like, I don't know. I mean, it didn't need to be made.
Yeah. No, I can see if the book is good, it needed to be made,
Yeah.
I guess. Visually be cool.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know.
I find it weird that they got Paul Feig, who's like one of the leading comedic directors. He does like the new Ghostbusters movie, all the Melissa McCarthy movies.
It's just like, it seems too much, especially when you compare it, and that's why we have our podcast in this format. When you compare it side by side with Gone Girl, it seems like almost like it's a parody of Gone Girl. Like it's an SNL sketch version of Gone Girl. It's like not, it just doesn't seem original once you put it side by side with a movie like Gone Girl that is so similar to it in terms of just like the general plot.
So
not the specifics, but you know.
So we got some good feedback from my friend Clay about like, you know, maybe taking a scene from one of these movies to really exemplify the category.
Yeah.
I'm going to save mine for A Simple Favor because I think the originality and the way that the two wives are like crafted on screen is something that goes more towards like spectacularity than originality.
Okay.
So I'll talk about that there. I don't know if you have a scene that really like shows you why you would give it a 3 as opposed to like a 1.
No, not for Simple Favor, but I do have a scene for Gone Girl. So I gave Gone Girl
Let's do it.
I gave Gone Girl a 6 in terms of originality because
Okay,
I
damn.
definitely think it absolutely needed to be made.
Yeah.
I think that the structure of the movie is very original.
Yeah.
I mean, and if it's not, and there's another movie like it, then I'm very
the whole
sorry
monologue
that
in the
I'm-
middle of it, just telling you exactly what was going on.
That's the scene I was talking about.
That's
That
crazy.
whole scene
Yeah.
where you find out what the twist of the movie is,
Yeah.
that when the diary comes to an end, essentially, is an incredible scene that I think is extremely original.
I am so much happier now that I'm dead or something like that.
Yeah,
It's like,
and then the diary switches over to like
yeah.
her. You see her,
Step 3.
Yeah, you see her
Bring
in the
pregnant
car-
idiot into home
Yeah.
and ply her with lemonade. Like, it's so cool. It's normally an exposition scene like that would be so corny.
Yeah.
But it's her great, like, deep, soothing, kind of creepy voice.
and that's what I think is so original about
Yeah.
this movie is that it's the exposition, especially when you compare it to a movie like Simple Favor, is not corny.
Yeah.
It's original.
Yep.
And that's what I think is the coolest thing about Gone Girl. At least in
totally
terms of this
agree.
category.
I'm going a step below you. I'm giving it a 5 because it came from a book. I sometimes count that against it, especially when it's such a faithful adaptation. There's a
Right.
lot in the book that is, better than the movie.
Yeah,
Totally. Because you get into the mind of both Nick and Amy. It's totally in their head. But I think there are things about the movie that are also better than the book, and I'll give it credit for that. I also think, like, I'm going to give it a 5 because I think it, as a movie and as a concept, it kind of subverts our idea of, like, gender roles, and it's truly shocking, as you were talking about. But I think it has this, like, cynicism about regular traditions, such as, like, marriage and caring for family, that a lot of movies are unwilling to even touch. And so I really appreciate that. So I think it's absolutely necessary to be made. I just have trouble calling it totally original.
Yeah,
Like on a 7 scale.
Yeah, I see what you mean because, like, and I very much recommend to listeners that you read Gone Girl because
great.
Gone Girl the book is Gone Girl the movie on amphetamines and steroids or whatever the hell that guy said.
There are parts of the movie I like a lot more. I like the ending more.
Yeah. But like there are parts in the book that are
it's great.
that are gut-wrenchingly disturbing.
Okay. I think you guys should go out. Gillian Flynn's a great writer.
that book
A lot of her stuff
that
is
book
getting
is
adapted.
real. Ugh.
So that's a 6 from Nick for Gone Girl and a 5 from me for Gone Girl.
And then another 3 and a 2.
For a simple,
Simple
favor.
Favor.
So next let's go to Spectacularity, which I've been
Okay.
waiting for. Let's start with Gone Girl.
Okay.
What'd you give Spectacularity for Gone Girl?
So for Gone Girl, this
So
is
Spectacularity is just how engaged you were. Were you, preoccupied, like worrying about the time? Were you on your phone the whole time? Were you at the edge of your seat? What are some other things that kind of describe Spectacularity for you?
Spectacularity to me is just a category where you ask yourself, or we ask ourselves when we rate it, very simply, how engrossed in this movie were you as you were watching it? What was the overall experience
Every time you watch it.
of watching this movie? Every time, because obviously for this, for most of these, we're doing a repeated viewing. You've only seen Simple Favor once,
Right.
I've seen it twice. Fine.
Loser.
Fine. For Spectacularity, I gave Gone Girl a 6.
Okay.
I gave it another 6.
I gave it a 6
That's
as well.
3 in a row. Because, like I said, you are engaged in this movie the whole way through, and a lot of it is because you're kind of constantly put on your toes, because it's, especially the first time you watch it, it's unexpected.
Yeah.
And then even on the second time watching it, there are elements of this movie that carry you through it, like the acting of this movie is incredible,
Especially by the two leads.
especially the two leads. Everything just keeps you going through the movie and keeps you engaged and engrossed in it, and there's nothing in it that takes you out.
Yeah. I'm giving it a 6 as well. I think that one thing that really powers this movie through, and this is just something I always pick up on in movies, is that Trent Reznor's score is so like harrowing and dark and ominous and like sometimes kind of floaty and like nice when there's the romantic sequences. That it just kind of, it keeps you engaged. It's almost like the beat of a drum in a war or something. It just keeps you at the edge of your seat.
That beating, it has a good rhythm.
Right.
This movie has like I would say
it
a
has
nearly perfect rhythm to it.
Yeah, the pacing and the structuring. I mean, putting the twist in the middle of the movie, you would think would make the rest of the movie not interesting. But honestly, the second half of the movie is crazier than the first half. I do want
It's
to
way crazier, and you don't expect that.
Yeah, I do want to highlight, Nick already touched on it, but the whole montage scene when she's explaining how she set this up and like why she set it up and what Nick did wrong and what she's doing now, like I found that, like I found myself smiling every time I watch that scene because it's so insane and so fascinating, and it's capped off with like her killing herself, her imagining
Quote, unquote.
herself killing herself. And she says, and she floated down like all the other abused, unwanted, inconvenient women. And it's like, it gives you really a sense of the theme behind their relationship. And it keeps you wanting to know what the fuck is going to happen for the rest of this if we already know that she disappeared and is framing him for murder. It's him, trying to protect himself for his life, and it's her figuring out whether she really wants to be outside of him or not.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So that's a 6 from both of us. Let's move on to A Simple Favor.
A Simple Favor, I gave it, let's see. Yeah, I gave it 3.
Yeah.
It's not a spectacular
I gave
movie.
it a 3 as well.
It's like not, it's a kind of a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
Especially the first time, but it's not spectacular. It's not engaging, and it wasn't like engrossed in the movie.
Yeah.
I only saw it in theaters because it was free, and I only rewatched it because we were doing this podcast episode. So,
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Or that was my idea.
But no, it's like a perfect matchup to compare it to Gone Girl, because Gone Girl is so engaging the entire movie,
Right.
and it has that rhythm to it, that has the exposition lines from Rosamund Pike that are so bring you so deeply into her disturbed mindset and just like weird.
Yeah, she's so great. I can't wait to talk about her in acting.
Yeah, just like weirdly askew way that she's landed on this plot. And then in Simple Favor, that exposition is just not as engaging. The motivation behind Blake Lively's character's Emily's her reasoning isn't as engaging as
It's not new. It's not like a well-crafted plan in any way.
No. It's
I
sloppy.
agree.
And you learn that she has a twin sister, and you're like, oh, okay.
I'm giving it a 3 as well because it is like not only is it a thriller, but it is like a comedy in certain ways. And Anna Kendrick definitely keeps you engaged in terms of the humor of her and how like, high energy she is. I just felt like even though Gone Girl is much longer, I think it's like 40 minutes longer or something, maybe half hour longer. I just felt compelled to like check my phone the whole time. I was not engaged. I was taken out of the movie. I think since I mentioned Trent Reznor for Gone Girl, I should mention that the score for A Simple Favor is awful. It's by this guy named Theodore Shapiro, and it's like really whimsical and like goofy. And it's also emotionally manipulative. Like it makes you focus on things that you don't really need to focus on.
No,
It has this like ominous stuff, and you're like, this movie in the end is not like scary or like crazy. It's
I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
It could be a darker movie, and maybe that's what that writer, maybe it is in the book. Maybe it's darker in the book, but it's not really like that. Like Blake Lively's character isn't really like sinister,
right?
Necessarily, but she could have been. It could have been a little different to make her more.
She's
sinister.
Supposed to be like she doesn't care about anything, and she's so cool, and she has this thing, and she has this perfect getaway, and she's like, "Ooh, you guys will never stop me."
Yeah,
but she really like doesn't amount to much in the end, and she even gets caught. Spoiler. Yeah, and I mean the thing is, I'm not gonna give it lower than that because it is fun to watch in certain scenes.
It's a fun
movie.
It is
interesting until you find out what the twist is. And I'm not gonna, like even though I left the end being like, what? Like I can't say that I wasn't engaged watching it. It's more that the twists and everything didn't leave me satisfied after, which goes more towards True Detective.
Right. And I will say that Anna Kendrick's arc was engaging enough to me that I did the whole movie kind of think like, what is she gonna do?
I totally agree. So that's a good transition to acting, our next category. And acting encompasses everything about acting, or about
the characters.
About the characters. It is how good and believable were the actors, and then did the directors and writers and producers or whoever, did they allow those actors to act at the best of their abilities, and did you care about these characters?
Yeah. Did the actors give the performance that is believable and have the tools to give that performance?
Yeah. So let's start with A Simple Favor, since you were talking about Anna Kendrick.
So Anna Kendrick carries this movie for me. I gave it a 3 because nobody else seems to freaking carry their weight. Henry Golding seems to be the same character in every movie he's in. Yeah. More or less. And he's just like, whatever, he's not, no one's bad. Blake Lively comes like, I don't know, like really close to being bad.
Really? Oh man. I mean, I'm like, she fully went over the bad acting level for me. Well, I'll let you finish your point. But
that's fair. No, that's my point. But
I like Blake Lively. I think that Blake Lively is a good actress, especially in The Town. Yeah. But she's so annoying in this movie. Yeah. Like she has these like kind of funny, like cynical lines at the beginning where she's like, no, honey, mommy has a date with some antidepressants later or something. And I'm like, people don't talk like this. No. My big problem with the movie, and I'll talk about the other actors at some point in this, but my big problem is that I ultimately didn't believe in the characters and I didn't care about them.
With the exception of Anna Kendrick?
I like Anna Kendrick, but the thing with her and Emily paired together, or her with anyone, I guess, paired together, was I don't think that it was well structured enough for me to care about her character. I think that there's these like really cheesy filmed flashbacks that show some things that she did in her past. And then there's like some rushed writing. One problem is they keep calling each other best friends. They hung out one time or like 2 times before Emily disappeared. They're not best friends.
And they don't really seem to connect.
We're best friends.
They don't really seem to like, it's not believable. So if we're talking about the writing and the direct, I mean, like, if you read like what Blake Lively has said about this character, she seems like she really was into it, but I don't know that she was necessarily given the direction or the tools
I feel like
necessary.
it might have been the writing. There's like a part where you hear her voicemail. Her professional voicemail at her PR agency says, "Go fuck yourself" at the end of it. Ha ha ha. No, that's not a thing.
No one does that. There are multiple things that Blake Lively's character does in this movie.
She's not the worst, though. There's some of the worst child acting I've ever seen. Nick and I both hate child actors. We don't hate children. We hate child actors.
Just when they act.
Yeah. It's tough. Actually, sometimes there are great acting by children. You know, Scarlett Johansson was good when she was a kid. Natalie Portman. A lot of people. There's a lot of people. I'm just blanking right now. But I think it is a pretty good cast and a supporting cast. I think at least on paper it's good. And I do think Anna Kendrick carries this movie as she carries a lot of movies. She's just really fun. She's like kind of like clumsy, you know. She's like kind of like the damsel in distress type.
She's got
character.
a shtick and she's really good at it.
And she's definitely good at it. I do like, there's like Rupert Friend is great. The guy from Homeland is like a Tom Ford type character.
Yeah,
who's her boss.
he's good.
He's good. I like Andrew Reynolds. I thought the detective was the most unbelievable character I'd ever seen as a detective. He walks in, and I'll get into this later when we do our facelift section. I had a theory of where this movie was going, and I was very disappointed when it didn't go this direction, and I think it could have made it a better movie. But he kind of walks in, and he goes, "Ooh, that's a cute nanny." And that's just like, no, a detective would not do that.
Dude, you're
when
a
he's
working
like,
professional, man.
Which is, you know, as opposed to Detective Boney, who's like great in Gone Girl. So that's a 3 from both of us for this. Let's move on to Gone Girl.
Okay.
Acting.
So Gone Girl, in terms of acting, I am huge into the performance of Rosamund Pike in this movie. I gave it a 6 overall in terms of acting.
She only didn't win because she went against Julianne Moore, who played someone with early onset Alzheimer's. So like, she is
incredible in this movie. She is 100%. You buy into the fact that by the end of the movie that she is a complete and utter psychopath.
Yeah. It's not even just the way she delivers lines. It's how you can't see anything behind her eyes. She almost has robotic eyes.
No, she is.
When she kills Neil Patrick Harris and she's like flipping her hair over her face, like all of her body language is crazy. You could tell there's something so sinister lurking in her.
Yeah, she is
not even lurking by the end.
I mean, if you compare her to Blake Lively's character too, like Rosamund Pike gives this performance where you viscerally feel how sinister and like deep down twisted she is as a person, because and you kind of understand how she might have gotten there too, given the excellently done flashbacks and insight into her character. And then you have Emily, Blake Lively's character, who's just like a dick.
Yeah.
Like she's just an a-hole.
I mean, not even that.
And that's like as far as it goes.
Not even that. You just brought up a good point that I forgot to talk about in Spectacularity. It's that Emily, when you get the reveal that Emily is like a bad character, she set this whole thing up. The only thing she kills her sister, boo-hoo. But the other, no, it's actually, I guess, sad. But the sister's also thrown in there way late in the movie.
Yeah, you don't care about her.
But the thing, she like throws a wrench up into the sky and lets it hit her in the face, so it looks like she's been abused or something.
Yeah.
You know what Amy did? Amy she drained her arm of blood, spread it all over the floor, cleaned it up. Then she took a ball peen hammer straight to her face. Then she raped herself with a wine bottle.
It's heavily implied that was sodomy.
Yeah.
Self-sodomy.
She self-sodomizes herself with a wine bottle, and then she sliced an innocent man's throat as he's orgasming into her.
Yeah.
It's like so beyond what Emily does that I can't believe that anyone would ever say that Gone Girl or that was Simple Favor was Gone Girl on steroids. And
It doesn't. Yeah, that just doesn't add up to me because, I mean, and her plot at the end where she gets herself pregnant with
oh my God,
Nick's semen that he donated is just like.
It's so, and you just believe in the character because of how Rosamund Pike does it.
Oh, and there's a scene in the movie that just sells me on Rosamund Pike giving just like one of the best performances I can think of in a movie.
Yeah.
And it's not like one of the obvious ones to me, but there's when she shows up at Desi's house, his lake house, and you don't see the outside of the house.
No.
And this bleeds a little bit into the next category that we're going to talk about too, but you don't see the outside of the house. You just kind of see her reaction to being in this house, and you see her flip through multiple different emotions in this very short amount of time. And it's incredible once you figure out what she is thinking of and the plot that she hatches.
Yeah.
Because you can, if you look back at it, you can tell that she's thinking a couple things. And it's obvious in her face that she's thinking, oops, I'm trapped.
Yep.
This probably isn't good.
This is going to be more boring than my life before.
Right. And then you see her think that, oh my God, this is going to be boring.
Yeah.
So at first she's like, maybe a little bit fearful that she may have gotten into something.
She's like Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That she may have, dude, great comp.
I didn't even think of that until now. Yeah.
She's kind of fearful that she may have gotten into something that's over her head. And then you see her like, okay, actually this is going to be boring and awful. And then you see her flip to like, oh, I can use this.
Yeah.
And then she does use the
you see it all
solitude
happening.
of the house. And you just see it all in Rosamund Pike's face.
That's what I think
And
is
you have
better
to kind
about
of
the
see
movie.
that on a rewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also just think that's the thing that makes the movie in some ways better than the book is just her performance. And I do want to talk about I want to talk about some of the other actors. Ben Affleck. I mean, people don't give Ben Affleck enough credit for how perfectly casted he was.
Yeah.
He is a hateable person. He has this like almost perfect looking big American face that that you could understand people would, around the country would believe did something horrible. He has this like tired demeanor in every single scene. He has that like really broy walk where he has his like hands in his pockets.
Yeah, he's all beefed up from Batman in this movie. Yeah.
And then like some of the side actors, not a lot of them. I do, our boy Scoot McNairy's in it. He's great in a very small scene. Tyler Perry plays a character. If you've read the book, there's a character who's like a blonde, big talking, like big shot lawyer who's like the best defense attorney in the country.
Yeah.
And then they got Tyler Perry.
Think like Alec Baldwin type.
Right. And then you got Tyler Perry who does the Medea movies and does like Alex Cross. And all of a sudden he's just amazing in this movie. He's so believable as this character, Tanner Bolt.
Yeah, he's perfect.
I also thought his sister Carrie Coon was great. We both love Carrie Coon from Leftovers and Fargo.
This is apparently her first
theatrical
major
movie,
film.
yeah.
Which is crazy.
And then Kim Dickens as Detective Boney was so good. I want to watch anything with her. Very believable detective. She's the detective that really wants to solve this case, whereas all the cops and the FBI agents are all really lazy about it.
Yeah.
And that brings me to the reason why I'm going to give it a 6 instead of a 7, even though Rosamund Pike gives, an all-time performance and Ben Affleck is great and all these other ones is just a lot of the side actors just don't do it for me. I don't like the kid from Almost Famous that's an adult now, her like partner.
Yeah.
Casey Wilson is kind of ridiculous. Emily Ratajkowski is hot, but like not great. I guess she's kind of believable in that role.
Yeah.
And she's played a similar role in another show.
I guess she was in this movie because Ben Affleck suggested to the director.
Oh yeah.
That
Ben Affleck's a perv.
Suggested to David Fincher that she be in it.
He's like, have you seen this Blurred Lines music video?
Have you seen this girl?
Yeah.
And then, but I guess when she was when they talk in interviews about when David Fincher has talked about directing her, she very much wanted to be as good as she possibly could. So you got to give her some credit for putting forth the effort, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, she's fine. She's nothing like great, but and she's not bad. I also don't like Neil Patrick Harris in this. I like him as an actor. This one didn't work for me.
He might be the reason that I give this a 6 instead of a 7 because I'm obsessed with the acting in this movie, except for Neil Patrick Harris, who just bugs the hell out of me.
That's a rude question.
Yeah, he just it's like...
Yeah.
I don't know if he's miscast or like misdirected or what the problem is, but he just doesn't, I don't buy him in this at all.
Yeah. Just to cap it off, I mean, my favorite scene that best exemplifies the acting is, especially between the two leads, is the whole Sharon interview, the show that Nick Dunn goes on. Is the way he acts in that is so good and so subtle. And then you get Rosamund Pike trying to watch it with Desi. And like, you could see the wheels turning in her head where she's like, oh shit, I actually love this guy. He's killing it right now. I need to get back to see him. And you get a little bit of, voiceover from her mind. I think that's like the best way of showing that. And I do love, when she comes and is talking to Nick and says, I've killed for you. Who else could say that? You just like believe in this character. It's such a well-written, such a well-directed and acted performance.
Yeah.
So let's finish it off with eye candy.
Yeah. So let's start with Gone Girl because I want to talk a little bit about the scene that you were just talking about. So I can say this now. I gave Gone Girl just like straight 6s.
Okay, all the way through?
All the way through. So I gave Eye Candy a 6. Okay. And it's a lot of it is because so David Fincher's obviously an incredible director. The way that he visually presents this movie is amazing. The lighting is amazing. The scene where you can just kind of like just feel the mania in Nick Dunn as he's running outside of the his sister's house
to get to the shed.
Shed where he's like, oh God, I have to be the first one to do this. I figured it out. And he gets there. You can just kind of feel it in the way that it's shot and lit. Totally. And there are scenes like what you were just talking about in Desi's house and what I was talking about earlier, where you don't have to be told that you're in isolation. You don't have to be told that Desi told Amy that she needs to eat like low-fat yogurt. Or whatever.
And he takes it away from her.
And then he takes it away from her when she eats too much. Like, it's just well framed. It's just well shot, and it's designed in a way that you feel it, even though it's a movie where there's all of this exposition, because that's like a huge part of it. You don't need it for a lot because of the way it's visually presented to you.
Totally agree. And that's why I'm giving it a 7. I'm giving it a hard 7 out of 7 because I realized recently that David Fincher might be my favorite director because he's a lunatic. He's like he makes character. I mean, Stanley Kubrick did this as well, but he makes actors go through scenes like 50 times in a row. And then he includes all these weird visual things that are so unnecessary. If you haven't seen it already, I recommend that anybody go out there, look up the YouTube video about how David Fincher hijacks your eyes, and then look up videos about how David Fincher uses CGI, and you will be amazed. So there are certain scenes in this movie that you don't even know are CGI, as in any of his. He'll just like insert trees in the background where they weren't before. He'll do these like crazy shots that go around. But there's this one right before Nick is getting ready for that interview, that Sharon interview. Tyler Perry's character Tanner Bolt is getting him ready, and he's every time Nick seems that he's lying, he throws a gummy bear at Nick. And the gummy bears are CGI because gummy bears don't bounce off people's heads in a beautiful way. And David Fincher was like, you know what? I want them to for the effect of this movie to show how hard Tanner Bolt is throwing them. It's unnecessary, but it's visually brilliant. There's other scenes like there's just like a scene in the beginning when he first goes to the bar. Nick first goes to the bar to talk to his sister Go, where he just slides a glass across to her so he can have more whiskey because he's so like tired. And it's like beautifully shot. It's just him sliding a glass. and I wanted to fill his glass of whiskey. Oh. He also just like there's these little I know. There's these little glances that Nick gives, like anytime he's talking to the cops and it seems like he gave away something, the camera will like focus on him and then move away. It's honestly visually brilliant, and I think the best example of great cinematography beyond the scene that you were talking about when he's running to the shed is just how he shows that house, that smart house on the lake, which is way better than the smart house from Smart House, the Disney classic. It is just, I love their first meet cute. I think that David Fincher is just a master of his craft, and it's so beautiful to watch.
With Nick and Amy. Yeah,
when they're in that and it's following them through the party, just his texture and lighting it's brilliant. Honestly, like, I'm in awe every time I watch anything by David Fincher. He's a genius. So I'm giving it a 7. So that is the last of Gone Girl, but let's talk about a simple favorite.
Yeah, let's quickly go over Eye Candy with simple favorite. There's not a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's going to be quick.
I honestly gave it a 4 because there's also like
Average.
there's nothing bad in it. There's nothing that like there's no like crappy CGI or like weird filter where the whole movie's yellow or something like that would like make it necessarily bad. There's also nothing that makes it necessarily good. There are the costumes, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess
that are goodish.
Her 3-piece suits.
Yeah, her like weird Blake Lively.
Anna Kendrick's like quirky outfits. Yeah. I guess.
Maybe it's a little bit too on the nose.
I mean, I think that's fair. If you're going to give it, like, I think a 4 is average. It's pretty much neutral in that category. I'm going to give it a 3. I don't like memory sequences in movies when they are in like a weird light, like they're hazy in your memory, and the acting is like over dramatized. So some of the memories, like with her and her brother and her and her husband, and then stuff with Emily's twin sister were just dumb to me. They're filmed in this way where I don't believe it because they over dramatize it. It's like I started thinking they were fake memories. I do kind of like the opening title sequence. It was like kind of like James Bond, but like a little lamer. But I do. There's nothing like crazy camera work wise. There's nothing bad camera work wise. It's cool. It's edited in a decent way. There's nothing that pisses me off. So I'm just gonna say it's like slightly below average. Like I watch a lot of movies. 3? Yeah, I give it a 3.
Okay.
So let's count it up, big boy. I give it 13 for 13 simple favorite.
So that means that it has an overall 29 because I gave it a 16 overall.
29 out of 70 is not very good.
Nope, not very good. I think that might be underdoing it a little bit because it is like it's not a bad movie.
If I was doing it on a 100% scale, I'd probably give it like a 58.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely is a little bit over the 50% mark, but we didn't give our ratings don't pan out to that. In this case, it's a 29.
More specific.
Which is actually 1 point less than the overall rating that I alone gave Gone Girl. So mine adds up to 30.
30.
6 times 5.
And I think that mine also adds up to 30.
Nice. We agree.
Because I had a 5 when you had a 6, and I had a 7 as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is like an 86%, but in reality, I'd probably give the movie probably like a 95.
Yeah, it's an incredible film. I mean, I don't know how much more we could say about it, but it's awesome.
Let's move on to some accolades really quickly.
Yeah, let's do some accolades. So I was jotting down some really quickly.
Ooh, I love it.
So I got a couple quick fire questions. Which drink do you want more? Nick's like whiskey? 10 a.m. whiskey?
No.
Or
so not
those weird little martinis that
there's like
Cosmopolitans.
Are
they Cosmos or whatever they make in Simple Favor?
I'm gonna go with the Cosmos because they look delicious and that house is pretty cool.
The little like spritz that Blake Lively does. Oh, it's with tequila though.
Oh.
What are they?
I might go for the 10
no,
a.m.
it's gin.
whiskey.
It's with gin. Sorry, gin.
Oh.
Aviator. I was thinking it's Ryan Reynolds'
That's
gin.
right, Aviator gin. Yeah, I will 100%
They're
go
gin
with
martinis, I think.
There we go. You just decided it for me. I love.
So you're gonna
gin,
go with the gin martinis?
Let's do that.
All right, I'll take the 10 a.m. whiskey.
Who won the 2 movies for you? Who's the MVP?
The MVP? Oh, dude, I guess it's Amy, even though that's like a psycho thing to say.
The character Amy or Rosamund Pike?
Technically, it's the character Amy and Rosamund Pike because Amy wins. She wins even more in the book, and it's so much more.
Yeah, it's really fucked up.
Viscerally effed up.
I mean, he's trapped in the end in both, and it's
he's
pretty
just
creepy,
so much more. Just the way that it's revealed in the like. Go read the book.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil what it is that I'm talking about. That's so much more deeply upsetting to me.
Right.
In the book, but yeah, she wins. She wins for sure. Her plot worked
Yeah.
horrifyingly.
Yeah, I'm gonna
about
go. I would say Amy / Rosamund Pike or David Fincher. I mean,
Okay.
David Fincher needs to make every book that is like deeply fucked up into a movie. He pretty much already has.
Yeah.
And I love Fight Club and Seven is good. I don't know if Seven's based on a book, but he loves finding really creepy characters. He's already had interviews of it. He likes like perverts. He likes like making movies about stuff like that.
He's good at it.
And he's damn good at it. And his visual craft is just so good in Gone Girl. It's, I think that he has gotten better and better over the years, but I think Gone Girl still remains like one of my favorite shot films.
Yeah. Obviously, you gave it a 7 in Eye Candy.
So who lost the 2 movies? Like what is like, who's your LVP?
What happens to Henry Golding's character?
Dude, he like helps.
I'm pretty sure that he just fails. Like he loses everything.
No.
Doesn't he by the end of that movie?
There's a weird, stupid epilogue post-credit, or pre-credit, but like postscript about how he, lives a happy life with his son and writes a national bestseller about his wife.
Barf.
So no, he doesn't lose. And also, by the way, there is an epilogue in it, but guess what? The book is fake and the movie is fake and it's not based on anything in reality. So we don't need an epilogue about where they're at in life because they're not real.
Yeah, and we also didn't care about any of the characters enough to want to see a couple lines about what they're doing now because they're not real.
Yep.
So I think the real loser is us as the audience because the true epilogue was supposed to be a ridiculous like flash mob dance sequence.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't put it in because
I'm actually way more down for that.
because what? But I feel like it should have just gone all the way full throttle and included that.
Yeah, my LVP is Blake Lively.
Yeah.
And it's mostly because
Are you going
of
to talk about the
epilogue.
scene?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple questions for you that lead into this.
Okay.
Who has the worst cornrows in the movie?
Her. Is there another kid with...
Who has the worst layup in the movie?
Her.
Who has the worst Eurostep
But her
in the
Eurosteps
movie?
are pretty good.
It's pretty good.
I think
It's
she might
effective.
travel, but it's like, it's so corny.
So we're talking about this scene. Gabe, paint the picture.
In it, it's like she went to jail, but she's getting along just fine, or something like that. And then it shows her, and she works her way through the crowd, and she weaves through like 5 different prisoners who are playing just the worst defense I've ever seen, like worse than LeBron
They have
James. At the beginning of last
no
season.
idea how to play basketball.
So bad. And then she lays up in someone and then she goes, ha ha, in your ass. And then I threw my computer against the wall and it is broken into a million pieces.
It is simultaneously
Fuck you, Blake Lively.
the most baffling scene, the absolute worst line in the movie that's
so
full
dumb.
of Blake Lively cursing for absolutely no reason in the most unbelievable, not quotable way. And the weirdest appropriation of cornrows.
Yeah.
Just randomly. She has cornrows in that scene, right?
Yeah.
Am I misremembering this?
Dumb. And Blake Lively's a
so
decent
weird.
actress. This
So
is messed up. All right, let's do a quick facelift to
That's what I was
going
to say. You've got a good facelift for Simple Favor.
So in this section, facelift, we take the bad movie. If we talk about a bad movie, if we're so smart and we think that we're so much better than this movie and it's not good, then we should probably have a good idea of what went wrong and how it could be better. So I was thinking when I was watching the movie that they were going to keep showing these little parts of Anna Kendrick's Stephanie character. They were going to show they showed her memory sequences of like her cheating on her husband with her brother or half-brother. But so basically they tell this like whole story about how she cheats on her husband with her half-brother. And there are all these like little things. And you keep thinking, maybe this is some sinister, horrible thing that she did in the past. And maybe Blake Lively is using her PR company to bring out that sinister stuff. Which would explain why the detective doesn't seem like a detective at all. He's wearing like a polo and walks in there. And it would explain a lot of how stupid the memory sequences are because they're fake and she's hiding the real truth or something. Or it's just that Blake is a PR agent and it's like the movie The Game and they're trying to bring out something that's holding Anna Kendrick's character back from being like, you know, confident and having a good life and everything. But then in the end, you find out that it's all for like insurance money and because she hates her twin sister who's thrown in there. So I don't know.
Was that 2 facelifts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving like a separate facelift that it could have worked.
You're like an aging Hollywood starlet.
I mean, I think like maybe it could have made sense that she was in her husband that dies in a car crash with her half brother. Maybe that was Blake Lively's brother, her husband, like a strange brother or cousin or something that she cared about and she needed to like get her back. I don't know. I think also just eliminate the whole twin sister side plot. There are other ways to fake your death than killing your twin sister and using her, especially when that twin sister is told or is brought to your attention an hour and 30 minutes into the movie or something.
Dude, cool it with the facelift, Sharon Osbourne.
I can make so many good movies. But anyways, that's my facelift for that. Do you have any parting thoughts before we give a recommendation?
No, I think we covered it all. Let's get to the recommendation. Plug the social meds.
Yeah. So a similar type movie about if you want to be a little true detective and you want to look for clues, then there's a movie made for people who think that there are clues everywhere in the universe. And the main character is looking for clues everywhere in the universe. It's called Under the Silver Lake. It's by A24. It's with Andrew Garfield. It's on Amazon right now. It's really weird. Not for everyone. It's a neo-noir type movie in Los Angeles with a really big piece of shit main character. But I loved it. And you can go on Reddit afterwards, and there are some like crazy threads about it.
I still need to watch that.
Yeah,
you recommended this to me months ago. I need to do this.
You would enjoy it. And since we are called Facing Off now, you can look us up on Instagram, instagram.com/facingoffpod, or on Twitter @facingoffpod if you have a Twitter. We're the Facing Off Podcast either way, and you can find our poster wherever, and you can send us email. We would love to hear some feedback. We already got some great ones, and we're really happy to have you. You can send us an email at facingoffpodcast@gmail.com. And please, it's now up on Apple. Please rate and review. That really helps us out. You can even be mean on that. It still helps us out. We're getting attention. We would love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
And rate us out of 7. It's out of 5, but you can rate us out of 7.
Yeah, you can give us a 6.
So you got a little send-off?
Yeah.
Octopus and Scrabble?
Octopus and Scrabble?
Is it time to scoop McNary out of here?
Yeah, we're going to scoop McNary out of this.
All right, bye.